cause for the dismissal of Ms. Zamudio. Charge 1. On multiple occasions, Ms. Zamudio acted in an inappropriate and unprofessional manner and in violation of governing board policy by treating students with disrespect when she made disparaging and or gossiping comments to and or about students in front of other students and or parents, and when she raised her voice in front of students and or parents in an inappropriate and verbally abusive way, when she used profanity in front of students and or permitted students to use profanity in front of her during class or other district activities, and or when she unnecessarily embarrassed and humiliated students in front of others. Charge 2. On multiple occasions, Ms. Zamudio acted in an inappropriate and unprofessional manner and in violation of governing board policy by failing to provide proper supervision to students when she permitted students to use nicotine vaping devices in classrooms and or during other district activities, and or when she permitted one or more students to drink alcohol during district field trips, and or when she permitted students to leave their hotel rooms to visit other students' hotel rooms after curfew, including allowing students who were engaged in dating relationships to visit each other. Charge 3. On multiple occasions, Ms. Zamudio acted in an inappropriate and unprofessional manner and in violation of governing board policy when she made disparaging and or offensive comments to students about parents and or about district administration. Charge 4. On multiple occasions, Ms. Zamudio acted in an inappropriate and unprofessional manner and in violation of governing board policy when she requested and or caused students to enter animals in competitions that were owned by Ms. Zamudio or someone with whom she was affiliated for a non-district purpose. Charge 5, on at least one occasion, Ms. Zamudio acted in an inappropriate and unprofessional manner and in violation of governing board policy and county fair rules when she falsified a quote-unquote seasonal pass from the Arizona Department of Agriculture in order to represent that a student owned an animal that he did not own. Charge 6, on at least one occasion, Ms. Zamudio acted in an inappropriate and unprofessional manner and in violation of governing board policy and conflict of interest law when she used a district truck and trailer to transport animals owned by her or other third parties not affiliated with the district. Charge 7, on at least one occasion, Ms. Zamudio acted in an inappropriate and unprofessional manner and in violation of governing board policy when she transported students using district vehicles to Oklahoma for an event and permitted non-district students to ride in the district vehicles without authorization from the district. Applicable governing board policies. The district policies and regulations relevant to the charges are as follows. Policy GBEBB. At all times, teachers and other staff members will accord students the dignity and respect that they deserve and avoid embarrassing any student unnecessarily. All personnel employed by the district are expected to relate to students of the district in a manner that maintains social and moral patterns of behavior consistent with community standards and acceptable professional conduct. Staff-student relationships shall reflect mutual respect between staff members and students and shall support the dignity of the entire profession and educational process. Policy GBEB-R. No employee, while on or using school property, otherwise acting as an agent or working in an official capacity for the district, shall engage in verbal abuse, any conduct that disrupts any district activity, or any conduct that violates federal, state, or applicable municipal law or regulation. Employees are expected to conduct themselves in a manner consistent with effective and orderly education and to protect the students and the district property. Policy GBEA, all employees of the district are expected to maintain high standards in their school relationships. This responsibility requires the employee to maintain standards of exemplary conduct. Employees must make the well-being of students the fundamental value of all decision-making and actions. Employees must maintain just, courteous, and proper relationships with students, parents, staff members, and others. Employees must fulfill job responsibilities with honesty and integrity. Employees avoid using position for personal gain through political, social, religious, economic, or other influence. Employees stress the proper use and protection of all school properties, equipment, and materials. Factual allegations. The following is a summary of the factual allegations that support the charges. A, on or about January 23rd, 2025, Ms. Zamudio confronted a student, student 1, and yelled at her in front of the rest of the students in the class. B, on multiple occasions, Ms. Zamudio engaged in gossip and other unprofessional communications with and or in front of students during class, including students 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 10. C, on at least one occasion, student 9 witnessed Ms. Zamudio refer to another student, student 6, as a quote-unquote whore. D, on at least one occasion, Ms. Zamudio made the following statements in front of one or more students, including student 5. Quote, parent 1 is a dick, end quote. Quote, he, parent 1, is ruining my life, end quote. End quote, admin wants to get me fired, end quote. Student 9 also witnessed Ms. Zamudio complaining about district administration openly in front of multiple students on multiple occasions. Ms. Zamudio also complained to student 12 about the way administration quote-unquote treats her. E, on one occasion, Ms. Zamudio played a part in a prank on student 5 that involved having flowers delivered to student 5's ex-girlfriend under the false pretense that the flowers were from another student, and this caused student 5 to feel hurt and or embarrassed, and Ms. Zamudio then laughed about this with other students. F, on one or more occasions, Ms. Zamudio made disparaging comments about one or more students to other students, including inappropriate and unprofessional comments about the breakup of a dating relationship between 2 students, and comments suggesting 2 sibling students were engaged in a romantic relationship. Ms. Zamudio made and or yelled these comments to other students in the classroom, including in front of student 6 and student 9. G, at a Southern Arizona International Livestock Association event in Sonoyta, Arizona in August 2024, during a break in events, Ms. Zamudio began yelling and or screaming at both students and parents, including parent 2, and made the comment that the parents and students, quote, needed to get up off their lazy asses, end quote. H, on one or more occasions, Ms. Zamudio yelled at a student, student 11, in front of parents 2 and 4, called the student quote-unquote lazy, and made disparaging remarks about the student's steer, saying that, quote, there was no way it was going to win, end quote. At the same event, Ms. Zamudio made a comment about another student, student 5's steer, saying, quote, it was not going to win anything, end quote, in front of the student's parent, parent 5. I, on one or more occasions, Ms. Zamudio has requested and or caused students, including student 8, student 11, student 13, and student 14, to show heifers that belong to Ms. Zamudio and or to another adult affiliated with Ms. Zamudio at the Cochise County Fair, and or other competitions, and falsely represented that the students owned the animals. J, on at least one occasion, Ms. Zamudio falsified a seasonal pass for the fair to untruthfully represent that student 9 and not Ms. Zamudio or someone with whom Ms. Zamudio was affiliated owned an animal for purposes of entering the animal at the Cochise County Fair. K, in June 2024, Ms. Zamudio took a group of students, including students 3, 4, 8, and 9, to a, quote, be a champ camp, end quote, in Oklahoma, using a district-owned truck and trailer. On the return trip, Ms. Zamudio took a detour of multiple hours and used the district-owned truck and trailer to pick up a steer that was owned by Ms. Zamudio or someone else with whom Ms. Zamudio was affiliated. During the, quote, during the Be a Champ camp, Ms. Zamudio, quote, screamed at students 8 and 9 in front of other students and individuals attending the event. There were other students being transported in the district vehicles on this trip that were not Benson Unified students. L, on multiple occasions, student 15 and student 16 observed Ms. Zamudio allowing other students to openly vape nicotine products in the classroom and or during other district activities, and did not report those students or confiscate their vaping items. M, during an overnight field trip to Tucson, student 16 observed Ms. Zamudio knowingly allow students, including student 16, to, quote, sneak out of hotel rooms at night to drink, smoke, and hang out with boyfriends and girlfriends, end quote. N, on one occasion, Ms. Zamudio caught student 17 drinking alcohol at a district event and did not report student 17 or confiscate the alcohol. Student 17 reported this to his parent, parent 6, after student 17 graduated. O, on one occasion, Ms. Zamudio unnecessarily embarrassed and humiliated student 18 announcing to an entire classroom of students that they should all be careful of what they say to student 18's parents because the parents might sue the school. The recommendation, based on the conduct described above, Mr. Mortensen, the superintendent, is requesting that the governing board issue a notice of intent to dismiss Ms. Zamudio. The identities of students 1 through 18 and parents 1 through 6 will be provided to Ms. Zamudio if and when the governing board approves the statement of charges in a public meeting and if and when Ms. Zamudio requests a dismissal hearing. Mr. Mortensen, I will turn it back over to you.
I request that the governing board take the following actions relative to the statement of charges. Number one, the governing board conclude after having reviewed the statement of charges that the district has sufficient cause to dismiss Jessica Zamudio if the allegations are true. Do I read all three right now?
Yeah.
That the governing board vote to provide Jessica Zamudio with notice of its intent to dismiss her from her employment if the governing board makes a determination that the alleged conduct is cause for dismissal. And that the governing board designate a hearing officer to hold the hearing, hear the evidence, prepare a record, and issue a recommendation to the governing board for action. A hearing is requested by Ms. Zamudio.
The administration has prepared a document entitled Statement of Charges that the administration proposes to be issued by the governing board to Jessica Zamudio. The document contains charges and the facts supporting those charges. The administration is asking the governing board to determine that the charges against the teacher have true or cause for dismissal. Tonight we will not determine whether or not the allegations are true or false and cannot delve into the details of the case. Tonight we are deciding only whether the statement of charges present cause to dismiss the teacher if the allegations are true. The administration is also asking the governing board to provide the teacher with notice of its intent to terminate her if the governing board makes the determination that her alleged conduct is cause for dismissal. The board adopts the charges and approves issuing a notice of intent to dismiss. Jessica Zamudio will be provided an opportunity to request a hearing to contest the charges. Finally, the administration is requesting that the board approve keeping Ms. Zamudio assigned a home with pay until the dismissal proceedings are over, and to approve the use of a hearing officer for the dismissal proceedings. Has everyone had time to review the charges? Jackie, good? Yeah?
Yeah.
You good? All right. So, we will entertain a motion.
This time I'll make a motion that the governing board adopt a statement of charges of dismissal regarding district employee Jessica Zamudio.
All right, we have a motion. All in favor, say yes.
We have a second.
We have a second. I'm sorry, we have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. Opposed, no.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, motion passed. All right. Motion, entertain another motion. Motion number 2. All right, so I move that the governing board direct Superintendent Mortensen to issue a notice of intent to dismiss Jessica Zamudio at the expiration of 10 days from the date of service of the notice. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say yes, opposed no.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, motion passed, and we'll entertain a motion for motion 3.
Motion, I move that the governing board place Jessica Zamudio, an administrative assistant to home, administrative assignment to home with pay until any and all dismissal proceedings are concluded. I further move that the governing board direct Superintendent Michael Mortensen to issue notice of the administrative assignment to home to Jessica Zamudio.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor say yes, opposed no.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, motion passed. The governing board will now need to designate a hearing officer to hold the hearing, hear the evidence, prepare a a record and issue a recommendation to the governing board for action. Is there a motion? We have a motion. Second that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. Opposed, no.
I'm sorry to interject. I think somebody needs to read the motion.
Oh, yep, okay. So Jack, you want to read that motion? I think you made the motion. So motion for? Yeah, read that motion for.
I move the governing board approve the use of the hearing officer for the dismissal hearing regarding Ms. Zamudio's employment, and that if the hearing officer is not selected by mutual agreement of the parties, that the governing board authorize the superintendent to select the hearing officer from the list of hearing officers approved by the Arizona Department of Education.
All right, so that was the motion. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. Opposed, no.
Yes.
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 Yes, motion passed. I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say yes. Opposed, no.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, motion passed. We are adjourned. Thanks, Will.
Brett, can I get just a comment from you, just to kind of recap exactly what took place here right at this moment? Is that okay? Can we talk for a second?
Sure.
Okay. This is Brett Barney, the president of the Benson School Board, here with me right now. Brett, now, people were watching this and these motions here just for the past few minutes. In a nutshell, since it was kind of hard to hear, what exactly took place, and to let the public know.
So the board has accepted the superintendent's recommendation to dismiss, which doesn't mean necessarily that she is dismissed. She's been put on leave, or continue to be on leave, and she'll have the opportunity to appeal this decision. And if that's the case, we've authorized an independent party to be the mediator in that procedure. So she'll have 10 days to decide whether or not she would like to appeal the decision.
Okay, so after the 10 days, if she decides to appeal, what's the next steps after that?
If she decides to appeal, her attorney, the school's attorney, and the mediator will meet together, hear all the evidence from both sides. Then that mediator will recommend to the board. They will give us a recommendation, and we as a board have to decide whether to accept that recommendation or to deny it.
As of right now, somebody watching right now, is she technically fired?
I suppose you could say technically, but she has, like I said, she has the right to appeal that decision. So until that appellate process is taken care of, it's not done. It's not over.
She's got, like, say, 10 days.
10 days to decide whether or not she wants to appeal.
And during that 10 days, is she getting paid?
She is getting paid, yeah.
She is, okay, all right.
Yep.
All right, I think, is there anything else we're missing here that you want folks to know about?
Well, I just want everybody to know that this is just the process. This is due process. This is just the way it has to go. I know a lot of people have been very upset about the whole process, but unfortunately, like everything else, we couldn't list the charges. The board hadn't even seen the charges until tonight, and we are unable to just blow through this process. It takes time, and we're in the middle of that process, and it's working as it's supposed to at this time.
All right, thank you so much, Brett. I do appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, there you have it, folks. That's what we know. A big turnout tonight here in Benson, and effectively the school board has, in a sense, fired the teacher, but she has 10 days to appeal, and then they will go through a process after that, and then a final decision will be made. But it's up to her whether or not she wants to appeal during this 10-day process.